You still go live. Here we go.
Okay.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys can hear me. Let's see who we got. Jeremiah. Thank you for coming to the stream before work. Just if you watch this after work, I just want to acknowledge that I did see your comment or chat. Sergio, let's go to the moon. Yeah, man, I'm all about it. Let's hope today ends on a good note because this week overall was fantastic compared to the previous weeks that we've had in the market. Tizesh, today's going to be a good day? Absolutely. It's Friday, end of the week. I also think it's going to be a great day. Jay, pleased. Zometica just keeps barcoding. No volume. Isn't truforma set to release in a couple of weeks? Yeah, truforma is set to release end of March. So we'll definitely talk about that. We've seen barcoding before at the $1 range for the stock. So again, people are saying potentially, there's some automation or some type of robots. I don't know. You're saying it's a bot type formation that's causing these barcodes. But again, not 100% sure, but we can definitely talk about it today. Tizesh, April 1st is going to start gaining very soon up until April 1st, 100%. Let's hope so. I'm hoping the market's going to start waking back up and we're going to continue our bull run that we've been on for a while now. All right, Darist, how are you doing, man? One of the biggest supporters. I see him in every video, always on the Discord. I appreciate you, my man. Dave, if you don't know who Dave is, guys, just join the Discord. He does a lot of charts for everybody. Just overall great guy, comedian, in my opinion. So thanks, Dave, for tuning in. John, I want to acknowledge you as well. Greetings, Earthlings. Guys, John, again, another reason you should be on the Discord is you can see how delicious John's food looks all the time. This man is a chef. He makes some fantastic looking plates. So John, welcome. Joe, greetings to you as well, my man. And yeah, welcome everybody to the live stream. All right, so thanks Dave for tuning in. John, I want to acknowledge you as well. Greetings, Earthlings. All right, so the first order of business that we love to talk about at every stream is Zometica. I've talked about this one more than a dozen times now. I think 12 or 13 videos just exclusively on this stock. So as you guys can see, Zometica currently is at $2.04. Last Friday, a week ago, exactly, I was live on stream as it had approached $1.43. You could call it luck. We just saw that there was a level of support at around $1.43, $1.44, and we all decided to, I decided, hey, this is a great buying opportunity, although we don't know what's going to happen the next second in the market. And guess what? Anyone that decided to come in and join me on the buying of the dip, right? This never-ending dip, as we thought, ended up making a killing out of that. So again, up 46% since its bottom, recovered very nicely, and I expected that. I said that Zometica, because again, they have short-term catalysts incoming, truforma launch, which again is going to in turn bring in more revenues to the company. But we said that if the market decides to retrace or go back to where it was instead of continuing this downfall, that Zometica is going to be one that was going to recover very nicely. Now, the majority of our stocks actually ended up recovering pretty well, so that's something that I'm pretty happy about. And again, let's just hope that this momentum continues. I'm going to pull up my Robinhood just so everyone sees, how the 1K to 10K challenge is doing as well. So as you guys can see today, in the pre-market down 3.45%. But if we look at the 1 week, guys, you saw it. We were down to $658. Of course, we had no buying power, unfortunately. And this is the biggest lesson that we learned so far, I think, with this challenge. If you don't have buying power, you cannot pounce on the dips, right? So for this challenge itself, the big thing was I wanted to start with 1,000 and keep it at 1,000. And we thought we were buying dips, but the dips kept dipping. So again, let me make my screen a little smaller so you guys can see my positions. Just super tiny there, but you guys could see. NMTR, 9 meters biopharma, Zometica, $2.04, Acasti Pharma. A lot of these recovered so well after though. CTXR, Citius Pharmaceuticals, Bio High Tech, BHTG, Senseonics back to 314, Jaguar Health, JAGX, and POAI, Predictive Oncology. So all of our plays overall came back this morning again in the pre-market, kind of running a little red, but I'm not too worried about it. Again, if we see a pullback, for people who are looking to potentially get in on some of these plays. Maybe we're going to see some great buying opportunities to come. So the focus is not the 1K to 10K challenge, but I wanted to give you guys a portfolio update and how nicely we've recovered over the week. So again, bottomed out last Friday at 658, came back up, thankfully, almost to the 1,000 mark. So we still haven't broken even, but again, not worried about it. So let's go back to Zometica for a little bit. I'll put my screen a little bigger again so you guys can see me. If you guys even want to see me, I have my morning face still. And John, thank you so much for the super chat. Like and share. Yes, if you are in the stream, giving it a like does get it out to more people, so I would really appreciate that. We do have Rocky here with us, who's going to definitely be talking about, he's going to be doing the charting, giving the technicals from his perspective. And yeah, we want to make this as interactive as possible. So yes, for everyone that's just joining in, good morning to everybody that is in the stream. So again, guys, Zometica, there's just been a lot of different articles. So you see Motley Fool. I know people have difference of opinions about Motley Fool. A lot of these posts, these blog-like posts, again, they have financial analysts and advisors on their team. But regardless, I read this morning when I woke up, and I think it's actually a really good article overall because it kind of, again, reflects directly what I talked about in my previous videos leading up to the launch of the truforma. So there's an argument for and there's an argument against Zometica. Now I'm actually going to read this quick to you guys because again, I think it is important to have this understanding going into the launch of the truforma. Because the thing I liked about it in the argument against is they're saying potentially at these $2 ranges, the truforma is potentially already priced in, something that I've talked about and discussed in more detail previously. Now, let's see what it says here. So truforma is a diagnostic platform that can tell vets several key pieces of information about the health of their feline and canine patients. In particular, it can detect a pet's levels of cortisol, thyroid stimulating hormone or TSH, free T4, again, different lab values to test for thyroid dysfunction, hyper or overactive or underactive thyroid, depending on which test the practitioner chooses. The system has two main components: the truforma analyzer machine itself and test cassettes. Again, for all of you who've been in Zometica for a long time, you know these details. And the test cassettes that vets load with biological samples. Then you take a sample from Fido, then the vet pops the cassette into truforma and it delivers a readout shortly after, right? And the big thing that gives the truforma advantage over some of the previous, some of the standards of care in the pet diagnostics field is that in particular, the 18-minute turnaround time, 18-minute to 20-minute turnaround time to get your results. Again, it is a point of care test, not one that you typically, so if you and I go to the doctor's office and we want to get our thyroid checked, we need a blood draw, or even previously for animals, they get a blood draw, you take the sample, you send it off to the lab to have that checked. Usually you can get your results within 24 to 48 hours of the lab receiving it. Okay? So again, that's something we already know. The true innovation of truforma lies in the fact that clinics don't need to send their samples off to an outside lab result. Exactly what I just said. While it isn't the only product that fills this role, having diagnostics in-house means that practitioners can make decisions about patient care much faster, which could lead to better outcomes. Plus, there's a chance that cutting laboratories out of the loop could lead to cost savings for animal healthcare offices. In short, the convenience of truforma is highly appealing and it could drive substantial revenue growth for Zometica. Okay, so those are kind of some of the things for the product, for the stock, for the company. So we kind of know these things. Again, if you've been following truforma and did your own due diligence, your own research, these are things you've already highlighted over time. Now, I'm going to skip over the launch here, but again, we all know that the launch has been anticipated for a while and it's incoming hopefully in March. Right? End of March. We're already at the month of March. Now, after it launches in March, sales will slowly ramp up through the end of the year. Again, if truforma is able to sell their truforma, I keep saying that. If Zometica, it's morning guys, if Zometica continues to do well and have a successful launch for their product, we're going to see them hopefully beat revenue expectations quarter over quarter over quarter for the last three, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. If that happens, more people will decide, hey, Zometica is one I want to increase my position on. It's going to create a buying pressure. When buying pressure is created, of course, that's going to accelerate the speed of which the stock goes up. This is just common knowledge. All right. So finally, while Zometica currently isn't profitable, that could easily change once truforma starts bringing in revenue. In the meantime, it won't run out of cash anytime soon thanks to the recent stock offerings. We know they have over $100 million cash on hand, which is fantastic. Now, the arguments against, I want to be fair. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I don't want to hype up something without giving you guys some of the potential negatives. Again, I am bullish on Zometica, just so everyone's aware. The arguments against the stock, of course, the biggest reason to avoid an investment in the short term is that the market may have already priced in the economic impact of the launch of the truforma. Now, if this is true, and the current $2 billion valuation of the company, let's go back and double check. If the $2 million valuation, $1.99 billion, is truly already priced into the truforma, and once the sale of the launch of the truforma is successful, we're going to see this potentially come back down to more, based off revenue type expectations or stock price. So with that being said, currently no revenues coming into the company. This is going to be their first successful product launch. That could be kind of detrimental for anyone that got in at a higher price point, right? So again, this is something we've talked about before. This is a compelling argument because in aggregate, investors already know what the product does, what its potential market size is, and very roughly the value of the intellectual property used to make it. So buying the stock right now might not result in additional upside when truforma starts being distributed or later when Zometica reports its earnings from early sales. But potential buyers should keep this line of reasoning in the appropriate context, right? So there's a caveat. While it's probably true the market eventually prices in all of the available information about a stock, it can't predict the future. This is 100% true. Look at the unprecedented run-up. Look at this. If we look at the 1 year for Zometica, it went from 7 cents a share at the end of November. Came up 2,900% at its all-time high when it broke almost near $3, 3,500% upside. Again, astronomical numbers that we don't typically see in the stock market and the daily stocks that we might buy and sell, things like big tech, etc. So just keep in mind that it probably won't be equal to the impressive growth that Zometica stock posted over the last 6 months. So again, a lot of people coming in now saying, oh, I'm expecting a 1,000, 2,000% return. That might not actually be the truth. Now, again, if a lot of people start coming into the company being at $2 billion, still a pretty small market cap company, there's still potential for this thing to continue running up. Yes, that is true, but realistically, maybe not to the same extent that it has in the past 6 months as we saw. There's also a risk that truforma could be a commercial flop. I personally do not think this is true, but again, gotta look at the argument against. If veterinarians can't afford the device or they find it ineffective. I reached out to Zometica, as you guys all know. I sent an email. I called their office in Michigan, and I asked if I could speak to any of the reps over there, the representatives, to see if I can get some information about the current pricing of the truforma prior to its launch. Because if we can get that information and compare it to some of the competitors currently in the market, that's going to give us a better outlook and understanding of what to expect, whether or not this is truly going to be a successful launch once it does happen at the end of the month. Because if it's overly expensive, a lot of vets right now, especially with the pandemic, less appointments were had in 2020. Revenues are down in a lot of healthcare settings. For me as a pharmacist, we were hit pretty hard during the pandemic in terms of our revenues at the pharmacy, which is just expected. People were staying home. People were, we were under lockdown. So under lockdown, I don't mean to sound, negative whatsoever, but a lot of people, when it comes to physical health, stayed, somewhat healthy because you were away from, we have the lowest flu season, for example, ever. So regardless, healthcare was hit pretty hard as a sector. But again, now we're going to hopefully see a recovery when life comes back to the basic norm. So the final verdict. Sorry that I read this full article. I didn't think I would, but I'm just very impressed by how it's written. But regardless, last but not least, the verdict here, and I'll give my verdict at the end, then we'll move on. We'll have Rocky talk about the technicals. And again, last thing here. So a little morning brew, if you guys will. So the verdict here at present, I think this is again an opinion of one of their advisors. Again, people have differences of opinion about Motley Fool. I think that Zometica could be worth an investment that is small relative to the size of your portfolio, which I 100% agree with. I told you guys, any penny stock, 10 to 15% maximum of your overall portfolio. Again, not as financial advice by any means, but just for your own well-being, because that's what I personally do. Because we saw what happens when the market decides to pull back. penny stocks are hit the hardest. So again, if the company performs well throughout the rest of this year, it might be worth increasing your holdings further, moving on. So once we get reports, I'm going to be hopefully covering the stock for the entire 2021 because I want to watch this company grow, because we are considered early adopters for anyone that decided to join me at about the 39-cent mark, right? So right now the stock probably isn't, where was I? Until then, it's speculative purchase, even if it's one of the most, I can't even speak. Even if it's that one I'm optimistic about. For me, the risk of truforma flopping isn't as significant as the argument that the market has already priced in the device's release and expected earnings in the near term. That's the big key thing here. Right now, the stock probably isn't going to repeat its quadruple digit % growth anytime soon, even with the launch of the truforma. And I somewhat agree with this. I really think, personally, in the short term, we might see it go back to its all-time highs as we approach the truforma launch. 290. If we break 290 to $3, then more buying pressure might happen, that fear of missing out. But that's when we have to set our trailing stop losses when that occurs, so we can lock in our profits. Because again, after the truforma launch, for those people that are expecting that triple digit growth in the short term that don't see it, those are the people who have the paper hands. They're going to sell their shares, and it's going to bring down the price of the of Zometica stock. So just be aware of that. Play this one smart. Again, leading up, I'm going to keep continuously update everyone on how I'm doing, what I'm doing, and again, I'm just currently looking at potentially setting trailing stop losses if we see it go back to previous highs. All right. So again, right now in the pre-market at $2.02, so pulling back a little bit, which is totally fine. But let's see if Rocky's in to give you guys a quick update on the technicals for Zometica. And John dropping another super chat. I do appreciate you, man. It does help out the channel quite a bit. And yeah, John Lawrence, the man himself, the legend. All right, Rocky, let's have you at it.
All right, so what we have with Zometica is quite interesting. Overall, I'd like to say that the market is down quite a bit. QQQ, the tech ETF is down 1%. So you might be seeing a lot of dips in the market today, such as NVIDIA and NIO, stuff that ran up previously. But for the technicals of ZOM, we got to consider the fact that the trend will be bearish today. So this will create buying opportunities possibly, right? Friday is known to be historically bearish. As y'all know, last stream, Zometica hit 143, and Yourpop just managed to catch it on the exact dip. So we might be seeing the same scenario, but who knows, right? But Zometica is sitting at support at 204. It's a new support, but I'd like to say that Zometica had a breakout, but it just needs more volume. There's a lot of barcode action happening, which further slowed the growth of the stock. But as of Friday, the stock is up about 30 to 40%. So it's really good, right? And I want you all, I don't want you all, but a point of reference that I would use is that I would set my trailing stop loss or stop loss at 185, because this represents the resistance, but is now the support of Zometica, right? And if this 195 level breaks, we could see the same thing happening of like Zometica going to 183 and furthermore. But for the breakout, I'd like to see Zometica go above 215. Then we could reach higher highs such as 220, which is actually possible. So that's the basics of the technicals of Zometica. The trend is still bullish, right? 40% up since Friday.
Yeah. And Rocky, can you explain? So I guess, or anyone who's in the chat, if you guys can talk about barcoding. I know a little bit about it. It's something that I was introduced to because I was an early investor in Zometica, and we saw heavy barcoding at the beginning. So, yeah, go ahead.
All right. So barcoding is pretty much when a robot just enters the stock and just basically buys the bid and sells the ask within a 1 cent range. So the robots, they're there because they have a lot of money, and they just basically make 1 cent per share. I mean, you'll see it constantly, right? Algos are running the market. It's all everywhere, even tech, even SPY. It's all algos, right? As retail investors, we don't have the capital we need to actually run these bots or just beat them, right? It's just algo driven. So that's what barcoding is. It's just when a robot buys and sells at the lowest bid, making a little bit of money at a time.
Gotcha. Thank you, Rocky. I appreciate you sharing that. So for everyone who's been asking about this whole barcoding thing, I think that's a pretty good explanation of what they truly are. And hopefully that gives you guys, somewhat of an answer for anyone asking. And yeah, as John said, shout out to Rocky and Dave. All right, let's see what Dave has. If you're seeing barcoding, you're zoomed in too much. Yeah, that's actually a really good thing. Good point that Dave brought up. A lot of people do focus, on the 1 minute chart, on the 5 minute chart, 50. So yes, sure, with technicals going in and diving into those kind of values is sensible sometimes. But if you are focused in on the 1 minute chart too heavily, instead of looking at the outlook of the stock, on a day, on the hour, etc., that might be a better thing to continue to watch instead. Otherwise, it might make you kind of go insane. So thanks, Dave, for pointing that out. And again, I appreciate all your support, Dave. You've been, instrumental in the growth of this channel and this journey. So thank you so much. Let's move over to Ocugen, because again, that's one that I talked about yesterday in my previous video, because of the short-term catalysts that are incoming for this stock as well. So ticker symbol OCGN. Ocugen, as you guys know, is they're disrupting the vaccine space for C19. So with Covaxin is their current product that's being manufactured and actually administered. They have EUA in India. Now, one person actually in my previous video, much respect to, let me actually just pull it up quick because we're on live stream, so why not? Let's go back to the comment. So, and Darist actually came in and gave his counter argument as well. But if we pull up yesterday's video quick and we scroll down to the comment section, let's see. There was a good comment here by Les Lands, excuse me. So Les says here that why would the U.S. give this emergency use authorization when the U.S. FDA has authorized enough vaccines for all Americans? So I really appreciated this comment because it's such a good point. The U.S. would just allow Covaxin and other vaccines to go through the normal process. So he made a pretty good point here. Now, as you could see, there was just a little bit of some back and forth, but again, the thing that I really liked that Darius mentioned, and also the thing I mentioned on the video, if anyone actually had time to watch it, is that the big thing with Ocugen's product is that Covaxin is a non-activated. So it's an adjuvanted vaccine. Currently, what we have in the market, the Johnson & Johnson, the Pfizer, the Moderna, all three of their formulations are mRNA vaccines. Now, a lot of people have opinions against, especially in the healthcare community. As you know, 1 in 2 people in healthcare are not willing to currently get the vaccines that are available. 1 in 2, which I know that's an unfortunate ratio because we need to start getting vaccinated to end this pandemic. It's one of the essential moves we have to complete. This phase must be done, or at least enough to get complete or achieve herd immunity. That's, if you guys aren't aware, when enough people are vaccinated, again, all herd immunity is basically the, we've seen it with polio, for example, where you can get rid of an entire disease by getting enough people vaccinated so there's not enough transmission to continue this, exponential rise in cases. But regardless, the fact that Covaxin is a non-attenuated, right? So inactivated vaccine, it makes it, and it's a non-mRNA. So it doesn't have any DNA, mRNA, RNA components, which allows people to think, okay, maybe it's not going to turn me into a monkey, right? That's really just set in stone what people truly think is going to happen. Obviously, I disagree with that. But again, have your own opinion. I know there's people who are against vaccines, and I respect those opinions. But overall, I'm not here to kind of judge either way. Regardless, that's why Ocugen, I think, is going to do well if they get EUA. More people will be more willing to get the Covaxin, although it is a 2-dose. So again, we don't like the 2-dose series. Hear it from the pharmacist. Again, for us, it really does make it tough because not only do we schedule a vaccine dose that we have to administer, but they have to come in for a second dose. Like this week alone, we did over 100 vaccines at our small pharmacy. So again, now in 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks, we have to have them come back so we can give second doses. So always just keep that in the back of your mind when you're thinking about the different stocks and things like that before investing. So do your research, of course, but that's one of the big things that I like about Ocugen. Now, let's look at the technicals because a lot of people also asked, is it time to enter? But we did see it run up quite a bit. So again, let's have Rocky look at the technicals and then I'll also give my opinion after. All right, Rocky.
All right, I appreciate it. So Right here, you can see Ocugen. We're at the 1 hour chart. And a lot of people are asking whether to buy or sell Ocugen. So I'm going to give my quick thoughts on it. We take a look at the chart right here in the 1 hour chart. You can see that there is a point of resistance at Ocugen. And I do believe I believe we talked about it last Friday or something, because it did chart this then, but you could see a technical breakout happening through this point of resistance. And yeah, it ran up 30%, was quite huge. Whether so to buy it, right? My buy zones are pretty much at the point of resistance, which is now going to be support, which is at $8.85. Anything below just breaks it, and then the next support would be $7. But for now, it might run. But since it is a Friday, do be prepared that the stock might trend lower. Then, if you really want to, you can go ahead and invest in Ocugen. That's just my 2 cents of Ocugen.
Perfect. Thanks, Rocky. I appreciate you giving us your perspective on that one. So again, one to keep on your watch list. Currently, maybe a little, especially if you're looking for a more short-term trade, this one right now might not be at the best price. Now again, can't predict the future, but as you can see, Ocugen it has a smaller market cap than Zometica. So again, if enough buying pressure comes out, we know that it's going to continue running. And if you even look at the 6-month chart, for example, and I know it's only about a month ago, but it hit 1581 and probably higher than that, because again, I'm just using the Google stock type analyzer. But regardless, you could see down about 40% from its high. We know there was a short squeeze there that pushed it up high, and it was targeted by the WSB community. But regardless, down 40% from its high, and it's recovered from its low. It was again probably around, let's see, the 5-day, 792 or so. So again, up 21%, plus 4% of the after pre-market. So the market's going to open in a couple minutes, and yeah, so that's Ocugen for you guys. Let's see what else anyone else wants to talk about. Let's talk about CLBS. That's one that I promised that when we were talking on the Discord earlier. So if you're not part of the Discord, please feel free to join us. It's in the description below, that is a direct link. And also, if you do want to get 2 free stocks when you deposit $100 with Webull, feel free to use the link. And before I move on actually to CLBS, let me make sure we get Rocky's channel tagged here. So as you guys know, the person in doing all the technical analysis, the hard part of the video, that is Rocky Finance, the legend. So this man, again, he's been the person who helped me grow the Discord pretty much from nothing. First person I spoke to after I created it was actually Rocky. So again, everybody, if you have time and you're looking for other channels that has not only stock analysis but technical analysis, Rocky Finance has a fantastic YouTube channel. So let me go ahead and paste his here. Then we'll talk about Caladrius Biosciences. Let's see. Here's this. Here we go. Rocky Finance, the legend. There we go. All right. Now CLBS. So Caladrius Biosciences. So as we know, recently some news came out that they received orphan drug designation, meaning again they get some governmental incentives or federal incentives to continue doing their research and development on their current products in their pipeline. So regardless, since I kind of mentioned it on the channel, I don't think it went up maybe a little bit. I talked about it at $2.01. So again, since then, let's just say about $2, up about 3% throughout pretty much the whole week, which isn't pretty insignificant. Today down about 3.74%. So I might go back to that $2 range. And I thought, for me, that's potentially a good buy zone. So again, I still have my established position when I talked about it the first time around, a few months ago, a few weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. But I wanted to give you guys all an update on the fact that they received orphan drug designation. So the big thing with Caladrius Biosciences, again, if we go on if we pull up their website actually, you can see, if we look at their pipeline. So let's see here, product candidates. So the big thing is you could see most of them are in developmental stages, right? So it might be some time before they get FDA approval for their products, which again, once these biopharmaceutical companies get FDA approval, we know what happens typically. That's when the stock price rises, and we see, things start to run up or down depending on, how they do throughout their phase 3 clinical trials. Or if positive data is reported, we know what that also does to the stock. We saw it happen, with Viru Pharma, if you guys remember, some positive data was announced at, I think, some convention. But if you look at Viru stock, VERU, let's see, the 6 month even. So literally, it was always hovering around, that $3 range. Some great news came out, and it popped 200% in a day, right? And then since then, it had another pop of 100%. It's pulled back significantly since. But that's the kind of thing that we're looking for in these biopharmaceutical companies that we are invested in early, is that they have great products in the pipeline with potential, and we're looking for the good news to come out. Looks like market open, so ding, 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 goes the bell. So with CLBS, again, I'm personally very bullish on the stock. I established my position for a long term, not a month, not 2 months, at the very least a year. And I know, again, we looked at the tip ranks, price targets from some of these Wall Street analysts. So again, this is a tool that I really like using, because it gives you the perspective from people who have been doing this for a living for years and years and years. H.C. Wainwright, right? Biotech conference holders. So we know that H.C. Wainwright, they have some very good analysts, 5-star analysts rated by Wall Street, who, again, rate this as a buy with a $10 price target. So if you're looking at something that you're willing to hold for a long time based off some of their products and some of the things in their pipeline, Caladrius Biosciences might be something you want to look into, right? On the very low, there's a $6 price target, the very low, right? So again, from the 3-5-star analysts here, they're saying between $6 to $10. If it's currently at $2.04, and basically when you look at these, take them for a grain of salt. And the reason I say that is because, sure, these are analysts, but you can see out of 369 stocks, 252 were successful ratings. For Joseph, for example, this Raja, 57 of 113. So half the time they might be right, but the fact there's multiple of them rating that this is a buy, because again, what they anticipate in the next 12 months, positive data is to come out. Things like orphan drug designation, right, where they get increased federal funding, federal benefits for their product. So CLBS, keep this one on your radar, and let's have Rocky look at the technicals for potential buy zones, because I'm someone who's holding strong, long and strong for sure.
All right, so let's talk about CLBS. So ticker here is quite interesting. There has been a lot of support in this 188 area. So 188 to that 176 range is a great buy opportunity. For now, the stock is peaking near resistance, so you have to take a look at that. But for today, if the stock market is red, you could see on the right side of the screen, a lot of stuff is red, except GameStop. But you could see that I'm kind of expecting a pullback to 202, and potentially that could also be a buying opportunity. Once again, it just depends how the market is moving. So yeah, looking bullish from the lows, this has seen about 20% growth to 30% growth in the last week on Friday. So absolutely still bullish. I mean, the volume is quite low, lower than others with 5 million, right? Zometica has like 20 times more, but it's going to be slowly uptrending if more people look at it, and if there's more analysts on it, sure, this can go higher, right? The recent analyst rating was about 14 days ago, so that has something to do with the stock, definitely. So yeah, I think this stock has a bright future.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rocky, for sharing your perspective there. Let's see what the chat has to say now. So that's CLBS. Let's see what you guys got going. Hopefully everyone's trading is going well so far. Market's been open for about 5 minutes. And if you are new to the stream, if you could give it a like, it gets it out to more people, which of course is going to only make our conversation more fruitful. So let's see here.
Actually, do you want to go over NEO? Because
NEO? Sure.
I think the same scenario is going to happen with last Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. Rocky's saying let's talk about NEO. So I'm all about it. NIO stock. So NEO currently down 4.69%. Looks like it's pulling up a little bit, about 1% since market open. But yeah, looks like, again, down just a little bit. It could be more of the technicals that we want to look at. But again, for me, NEO has been a strong hold, very long term on the company. Been holding since about $17 a share. So again, right now up 30% or 31% since the previous week, just this Monday actually. So as we saw, we're completely dipped down. So again, I'm pretty happy to see NEO recover, because again, I truly think that it does have long-term perspective. If you look at it from 2025, 2030 vision, looking back, you're going to say, wow, at $69 billion market cap, this was still considered pretty small for a significant company like this one that is changing the face of electric vehicles in the country of China. So hopefully they're going to expand from China, of course, and we'll see where it goes. So let's have Rocky look at the technicals because he brought it up today.
All right, so okay, before off, I do want to say that I bought NEO at $34, which was absolutely great. And yeah, so taking a look at NEO, there is some buying opportunities, but I do want to bring the stock up, especially because Tesla's down 4%. That has a lot of stuff to do with NEO and how the market moves. But most importantly, we could have this scenario where NEO does tank about 18% in a day, like last Friday, right? You got to consider all of the opportunities when entering a stock, what could happen. First of all, from this candle, I'm seeing indecision from buyers and sellers, which could lead the market to tank more, right? If the S&P drops to 390, oh, for sure, I'm grabbing NEO for Monday. But you got to realize that SPY is at all-time highs, so there is that chance it just pulls back, gives its gains up, and we can have a steady ETF uptrend from there. But everything is negative as for GME, so yeah. So trying out the technicals, right? If it goes to 34, I'm buying. If it goes to 36, there's a solid area of support. Also, $40 does mark out some support, right? You see this being touched multiple times and it being bounced off there. So being that if it's 40, I might get into a position on NEO once again, but it looks strong, right? A lot of RSI indicators show that dips are being bought when it's oversold, and potentially it's just pulling back right now because the momentum has been high, right? About 30% in 5 days. Needs to cool off a bit before it makes some market move again. So expecting a positive green Monday, but let's just see how the market rolls out.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Rocky. So yeah, for anyone that's looking to get a position in NEO, maybe you want to keep on your watch list, today might be a good shopping day. So again, and for everyone that's been watching, I know on the YouTube space a lot of people are saying, oh, the market's gonna crash, the market's gonna crash. This has been something people have been saying ever since November. They were like, oh, everything's overbought. Look how November did, look how December did, look how January did. Until February, sure, we had a little bit of a correction, but we bounced back off of it. So again, let's get into the mindset of setting trailing stop losses if you're afraid, if you're putting money that you're not willing to lose. And in addition, also buying the dip, right? Averaging down as it happens. Because we never know when the dip will stop. That's one thing we all learned the past couple weeks, because it just looked like it was a never-ending dip and we were entering bear territory, but we bounced out of that, thankfully. So that is the quick technicals and overview of NEO. Now let's see what else you guys want to talk about today. Let's see here. Let me scroll up a little bit. Into 22. Cathal says, I'm holding into 2022, but at 145. Awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that. At Rocky, almost bought the dip perfectly. Can you touch on Atosa? That's what John says. And John, again, thank you for the super chat. You are a rock star, my friend. I really do appreciate it. So let's talk about Atosa after John Lawrence's recommendation. So this is one that I talked about early on, thankfully, and I did establish the position. Let me quickly look at. I think my cost average or cost basis isn't actually as good as I want it to be, but let me just pull up Webull quick here on my phone. Looks like, yeah, the market is pulling back quite a bit. But at Atosa, I'm at my cost average is $2.76. So that's my current cost basis. So let's see what we got. $2.95 is the current price for Atosa Therapeutics. So again, guys, if we look at the 5-day, it did run up quite a bit. So up 37% for the 5-day. If we look at where it bottomed out, maybe at 214, I think it was, up 38% since after this 8% pullback. So today we are seeing a pullback. So FDA safe proceeds to letter of treatment. Let's see. It looks like some news did come out yesterday that I actually did not see it about Atosa Therapeutics. Atosa Therapeutics announces receipt of FDA safe to proceed letter for treatment of ovarian cancer patient with oral endoxifen under expanded access pathway. So when I talked about Atosa Therapeutics on my channel as a biopharmaceutical company, I really like the topical formulation of endoxifen that they have on their pipeline. So I know a lot of the people who covered this on YouTube. I wasn't the first, but they were very focused on, the different things that they have for the virus, right? The nasal spray, which again is pretty significant, sure. But for me, the whole virus situation is very short term, in my opinion. I don't think this is going to be something that we're going to see for years and years on end, or I'm not hoping at least. Of course, we all should have optimism and hopefulness in ourselves that this is not going to continue long term. But regardless, endoxifen, the fact is that, so they have this oral endoxifen, which again, the current standards of therapy or standards of care is tamoxifen in majority of females for people who are, either in remission, right? I have patients that I see that are on tamoxifen, and they've been on it, for years after they completely were in remission of their breast cancer specifically. I've seen some, yes, with ovarian, but mainly for breast cancer, because that's what we see most commonly. But regardless, some of their products here that they have are all currently in phase 1 or phase 2. So as you can see, for the oral endoxifen, they have everything is currently in phase 2 clinical trials. So getting a letter from the FDA to proceed in their treatment. So again, this allows them to continue doing the research and development without having roadblocks, because roadblocks are usually set by the FDA when you have to always assure, is this safe? Is it effective? Safety, efficacy. These are the different blocks that come around throughout time. And once we get past those humps, it gives some optimism moving forward and potential catalysts for the stock. So again, this was as of March 11th. So Atosa Therapeutics, for me, again, guys, what I'm looking for is getting this through phase 3 clinical trials and getting it passed. And also, in addition, the fact that they're looking at topical formulations for endoxifen. So, it was here. I don't know exactly what's going on with their website. Maybe my computer is acting up, I'm not quite sure. But regardless, the big thing that they have on their pipeline is the topical formulation that is direct application instead of oral ingestion, which again, in turn, alleviates a lot of side effects, which is the big thing that gives, basically when it comes to looking at advantages of doing topical versus oral. First, people don't like taking pills. Second, more localized action instead of systemic. Yes, you get some systemic absorption, so it does get around the whole body, but the majority of it stays at that point where you want it. So that's some great things about some of the products Atosa has on their pipeline. So again, Atos right now sitting around $299, $297. It looks like it's pulled back 7% since market opened. I don't see, again, why. Yeah, it had a pretty strong run up leading up to Thursday noon-ish, and it's pulled back a little bit since, 15%. So I think, again, we can look at the support lines that Rocky could talk about quick, and based off that, if you like the company, do your research. Always go on the website, look at their management, look at their pipeline, and if it's anything that interests you and you see that there's a total addressable market that is going to be penetrated with their products, or a significant total addressable market, those are all good signs to potentially buy in. So Atosa Therapeutics, one that I'm very long on, I'm going to be holding till the completion of their phase 3 clinical trials, which again could be anywhere from a year to many years. But again, long-term hold. But for the nasal spray, that could be a short-term play. If they get good data for phase 2 and then phase 3 leading up to that, those are very short-term catalysts that are going to continue to get this price moving forward and continuously riding upwards. So let's see what Rocky has to say about Atosa Therapeutics.
All right, so I do like to say that Atos has dipped quite a bit. It looks like it's completing its gap fill from this large candle in the 1 hour chart, and now it's an indecision. But the good thing is that there is a buying opportunity at about the range of 285 to the range of 273. That's where you would put your first position, right? Never go in with your full position, right? Keep adding, right? Take a rule by Stan, right? For example, a 30-30-40 rule, right? You start off with 30% of the original position you want, but if that fails, that drops, add the next 30%. And once that support fails, right, you can establish the rest of that 40%. So keep on adding slowly. That's what I do want to stress when adding to a position. But you could see that there's a trend line right here from 177 to 290. There's a really strong trend line. So if it does hit 290 or this 285 area, most likely great buying opportunity. And of course, resistance is at 350. So if we get a 350 break, we could once again test $40.
Fantastic. Thanks, Rocky. Yeah, see, these are the kind of things that I don't know how to do. I hope to learn one day, but the way that Rocky's able to chart these all out is just absolutely fascinating to me. So shout out to everyone who's able to, do the charting. Someone said Ocugen is breaking out. Looks like, yeah, up 10%. Smokes. Maybe someone established a pretty significant position. Could be a big buy order that came in. But yeah, up to $1.81 billion market cap at 1054. So again, guys, all I can tell you is, how I determine things based off potential support lines, as Rocky has been mentioning. But look at this. We can't predict the future. It's continuously rising. Who knows what's going to happen, but it could be just getting squeezed. A lot of buying pressure. People are getting in on Ocugen. But wow, it is doing pretty well right now. So for anyone that decided to get in when we started talking about it because they like Covaxin, they like what they have on their pipeline, congrats. You already made a nice return as of this morning. So one of the first things we talked about after Zometica was Ocugen today. Now let's see what else everyone wants to talk about. Let's see here. BNG was 815, selling. All right, let's see. So we have Toril, who mentioned BNGO. For some reason, my eyes went directly to that one. So let's talk about BNGO because we did actually talk about it in the previous stream. But BNGO is one that I really like. I love their Sapphire product. Guys, anything that has to do with diagnostics that's innovative, changing, and we get to get in on these plays early on. I think it's something that these are opportunities that we will look back at and say, wow, I remember when BNGO was highly talked about, on the different social media outlets, the spaces, but there's good reasons to why these are actually gaining attention. And that's what I'm really liking about the whole retail investor surge in the recent years, is that a lot more people are getting more comfortable entering into the trading space, right? For the majority of people in this live stream, I'm sure you all do something else for a living. This is not all you do, for the majority, right? And that's what constitutes a retail investor, is people who are just starting to decide, hey, I want to start looking into buying and selling stocks because, again, I enjoy learning about the market. I enjoy learning about money, and everyone here is probably driven by finances, right? And a lot of the time historically speaking, money has controlled the majority of people's lives. So if this is just one additional resource or tool we can have on our belt to help us control our own finances and take advantage of some things like this, I say let's do it. Embrace these opportunities and let's take them. So BNGO, another one of these smaller market cap, again, about $2.5 billion. It rose up all the way to over $15, guys. So Wall Street had this one, with their optimistic analysts, I should say, their bullish analysts. They had a $14 price range or price target. And look at that, we flew right past it. Because again, a lot of buying pressure because we just saw catalyst after catalyst after catalyst. Such good news surrounding the company. So their innovation is great. Their products are fantastic. And I truly think this is, for me, been holding since about $2. I know it's been mentioned on the space of YouTube. My friend Dr. Dean, a person that I really do appreciate his perspective because he's a medical doctor and he's someone that, again, he focuses heavily on oncology. That's his emphasis of study. But regardless, he told me about this one around the 88-cent mark, thinking that, hey, this one has potential long-term outlook. So, as you see here, it has had a fantastic run up 2,700% in the last couple months, 3 months or so. And now, sure, it's pulled back down a little bit. But I think, again, if you're looking to potentially get in on BNGO, look into their website, right? You could pull up their website here, look at the Sapphire diagnostic tool that they have, different applications that it has. Specifically, the thing that interested me is in cancer, but genetic diseases, genome assembly. Are you kidding me? These are just such innovative thoughts anyway. Again, cytogenetics. So they have some things in research and discovery research. Go on their website. I think that this has some true, fantastic long-term and short-term opportunities. So Rocky, if you want to go ahead and do some of the technicals to give people maybe some potential buy zones for bio-nano genomics.
All right, let's do it. So potential buy zone one. I've tried out BNGO multiple times already, so you might see a lot of things on the screen, but let's make it simple. So the first area of support for BNGO is this $8 area. So anything sub 9 that you're gonna get is pretty good already. The next zone is about $7. So realistically, only those two are great. But with BNGO, a red to green move can be expected. So there's that.
All right. Thanks, Rocky. So there you guys go. There you have it for BNGO. Let's see what else everyone wants to talk about. Where are we at? Let's see how OCGN is doing. Is it continuing its huge run? OCGN. Okay, a little bit of a pullback, but still, it's really killing it this morning. So that's the cool thing about the market. We can never predict the next second in the market. So let's see. Caladrius Biosciences looks like it's moving back up a little bit. Some buying pressure. Not buying pressure, excuse me. People are just buying into the stock. How's Zometica doing? 210, 214. Okay. Looks like, again, some maybe following Ocugen stock. Looks like a lot of these are getting bought into pretty heavily. So Zometica at 214. Fantastic. We're seeing more flow, more volume, I'm sure, but more money coming into the stock.
Oh, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, I don't think anyone could see my screen from the last OCGN, or well, the previous technical analysis I did. But take a look at some sympathy plays for OCGN. If it manages to run up 30% or 20%, right, it could happen. Take a look at some vaccine stocks such as TNXP and Ocugen, because they're very cheap where they are, and I think they're basically first testing their vaccine, but these do have long-term potential as well. So these are baby stage stocks that are sympathy plays towards vaccine stock OCGN. So mainly when OCGN runs up, these are likely to run up as well. Ticker symbol OGEN and ticker symbol TNXP.
TNXP. Okay, those are definitely some we can cover. And one thing that Rocky mentioned at our previous stream is he said that the first half hour of market open, typically, there are for penny stocks especially, people tend to sell off their positions, and then we see it bounce back up. And today, look at this, 23 minutes, 24 minutes into the market open, we're seeing it, right? We're seeing a lot of these stocks now bounce back up and start entering into the green zone. So yeah, I think that's super interesting that you mentioned that, because it's not something I truly focused on or kind of noticed over like the last few months. But the fact that you mentioned it and now we're seeing it live, it's pretty cool and pretty interesting. So let's see what Moose has to say here. TTOO, T2 Biosciences, I think is the TTOO. So we can actually look at TTOO. Why not? Calling a PT on ZOM is so tough. Cathal, I agree with you. Having a price target for Zometica, it is so tough. And I don't want to set a strong price target, because again, a lot of the times when that happens, people end up holding till the price target is reached, and if it doesn't get met, people continue to hold, and then we see people get upset. So regardless, I talked about my long-term price target, but for the short term, it is hard to determine. It's hard to predict. Very, very difficult to predict. So let's keep at it though. TTOO, T2 Biosciences is the one we're going to talk about now. So TTOO stock. So how are we doing with T2 Biosciences? So we saw a bottom out around $1.46 5 days ago. Yep, about $1.46 over the last 6 months. It squeezed all the way to $3.79, pulled back almost 50%. I'm going to quickly look at where my entry point was, just to make sure we're all, that transparency factor I think is appreciated by most. But T2 Biosciences, where are we at? TTOO. My entry point for this one is actually $2.39. So I bought in right around over in this end here on February 4th-ish, say. Went up 57% immediately, like the next few days after I bought in. But guess what? I kept holding because I truly think their diagnostic tool is one that is unique and it has some strong potential. So if you haven't seen, the big thing is T2 SARS-CoV-2 panel. So yes, they have things that you can look at for sepsis and bacteremia, but the big thing that I like to talk about with this one, for the short term again, is they were awarded the EUA by the FDA. When this happened, it made the price of the stock surge up that 57% or so. And since then, it's cooled off after the market pulled back. And unfortunately, it continued to pull back a little bit more thereafter. So I think, again, with their diagnostic tool, I'm very bullish on it long term, not in the short term only. So again, right now at $1.94, potentially good buy zones. Again, remember, $285 million market cap. Guys, when it comes to these small cap penny stocks, I continue to reinforce this information. And that is, when it comes to these stocks, they can pull back significantly or they can run up significantly because, again, a little bit of money coming in, high trading volume, a little bit of money can, fluctuate the price significantly. So if, a millionaire decided, hey, T2 Biosciences, I want to manipulate the prices today for this one, I'm going to put in $100 million into the stock. If you put $100 million into this one, it's going to run up a lot, right? So it's going to bring it nearly the $400 million market cap, 50-60% increase in its price, which is going to make it run up quite a bit, 40 to 50% say. Now, again, with the same token, if a big whale decides to sell off, we're going to see the market pull back significantly. Now, for bigger market cap companies, we don't see that. Apple, Tesla, Google, because again, if a millionaire decides to try to manipulate the prices, the market cap is so big in the trillions, right? Hundreds of billions, or not, if not trillions, that it's not going to affect that. It's not going to be as volatile because of that reason. So just basic information I want to pass along. T2 Biosciences. Let's see what Rocky has to say about potential buy zones. If you're someone that's looking to diversify your portfolio, if you're heavily in, specifically, this is still considered under, I would say, healthcare sector, but if you're heavily invested in tech sector, always look to add in some things, again, from like the beauty sector, right? Makeup, those kind of things, not a bad place to be. Females will always use makeup is what I say. Healthcare is never ending. We are looking, the healthcare system is a multi-billion, if not potentially even nearing trillions of dollars. And that's, again, a place that you should have money in because long-term, it has a pretty strong outlook. So that's, again, just my opinion, of course. Rocky, what do you have to say about T2 Biosciences?
All right, I'm liking the chart. It's pretty much a bullish setup. It's about 50% down from its highs. So definitely, if you do believe in it, great buy zone already, right? 50% down from its highs. Next support range is 180. We're slowly getting up there, but if this does a red to green move, I'm not surprised because we're currently facing a bullish pennant right here, which could break out today, which could break out Monday. So really strong technical setup for T2 Biosciences. I really like it.
Awesome. Thank you, Rocky. So again, you heard it first. If you're someone who's interested in the company and looking to establish a position in T2 Biosciences, it might be time to do so. So keep an eye out on it and yeah, see where it goes. $1.30, Moose. Congratulations, you have a really good average cost for the drug. Oh my goodness. Pharmacy Mind, really good average cost for the stock. So congratulations to you, my friend. Alrighty, let's move on. NNDM. How is NMDM? Yeah, I'm actually going to do this one next because again, it's run up quite a bit after its pullback. Fantastic. So NNDM, guys, this is one we talked about on the channel before our channel was, growing at the pace that it was. Just go back here. It's one I actually really, really like. But NNDM, I talked about. Where are we? Right.
Oh
here.
wait, sorry. Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah, go for it. Let's go back.
Can we talk about ticker symbol RIDE? It's like that EV company.
Oh, Lordstown Motors.
It's currently getting a short report by Hindenburg if you look at the Google chart.
Oh, let me pull it up. Yeah, I actually have a friend of mine that works with Lordstown Motors, so it's a company that I'm actually pretty interested in. Let's look at it. Right, so
it's being shorted for apparently fake orders and undisclosed production herd.
So Lordstown Motors down 18.66% today. Huge sell-off. Again, Rocky's telling us just now, maybe he's just reports saying that you can go ahead and maybe dive into it because I don't know about the news, but this is a company that I'm actually invested in. I actually bought it around $20 before it ran up, so I'm down pretty significantly. But regardless, down 53% from its high. Go ahead, Rocky. Go ahead and cover Lordstown Motors.
All right. So let's get into it. So Hindenburg Research are the people who have been putting out short reports, and they just decided to put out a short report on RIDE. So let's get into what they said. Lordstown is an EV SPAC with no revenue and no sellable product, which we believe this grossly misled investors on both its demand and production capabilities. RIDE has consistently pointed to its book of 100,000 pre-orders as proof of demand for its proposed EV truck. Our extensive research reveals that the company's orders appear largely fictitious and used as prop to raise capital and confer legitimacy. I'm not going to go into like everything, but let's get into a few more.
Oh, wow.
Ride recently announced a 14,000 truck deal with E Squared Energy, supposedly representing 735 million in sales. E Squared is based out of a small residential apartment in Texas that doesn't operate a vehicle fleet. And let's just get into one more. Another 1,000 truck, 52.5 million order comes from a 2-person startup that operates out of a Regus virtual office with a US UPS store address. And the owner said it won't actually order any vehicles, instead describing the pre-order as a mere marketing relationship. So they go on extending their short report, and that's where Hindenburg strikes in, right? A lot of the time, Hindenburg's usually wrong with ticker symbol SOS and more on. But I mean, if you do want to get in, just wait for that pullback, right? Wait for that confirmed resistance. Maybe wait for the next day to establish a position. Already down 20%. These shorts are working to just short, right?
Wow.
But yeah, if you believe long term or just have conviction, I would read the short report before going in. But I mean, a lot of times they are wrong. They're just here to get you to sell out of your position. So there's that. I mean, yeah, a lot of stuff happening with Citron too. So that's my 2 cents on Ride.
Thanks for letting us know, Rocky. Yeah, so for anyone that's looking into getting into an EV company that has some strong potential, again, there's some allegations, and we're seeing this left and right this year, especially with a lot of these special purpose acquisition companies. They've been highly investigated, highly chased after by the different short reporters. Again, Citadel, etc. We could just talk about all of them, but Hindenburg as Rocky mentioned. But regardless, if you're looking to get in, I never thought we'd see 1435 for Lordstown Motors, but we're seeing it today. So again, if you're someone on the stream, do your research on the company. Again, I'm not going to do a deep dive on it because it's going to take a lot of time. There's some fantastic DDs on the YouTube space. There's some great ones too if you just go on their website to learn about it. But I know there's a lot of employees from Tesla that currently work for Lordstown Motors. So I know some of the management that they have is pretty unique and significant. So I think, again, they might get through this short selling hump and maybe start seeing a buying pressure come back. So yeah, down 53%, pretty significant. Wow. So yeah, keep this one on your radar for sure. And again, if you're someone who's in it, don't panic sell quite yet until you do your research before you do so. All right, so that's for Lordstown Motors, Ride. NNDM. So guys, as I mentioned, we talked about this one back at $6 a share. We saw it almost come back to those levels. 761 on Black Friday. I'm gonna keep calling last Friday Black Friday because it literally was shopping day for all of us. And congrats to everybody that decided to get in, up 41%. Again, the fact that NNDM is, yes, the 3D printing is something that I truly am very long term on. I think that 3D printing is going to help us, especially in the technology sector. But the big thing that I like about it is the different applications that they have for their products. So again, if you look at the markets, right, you could see not only are they focused on, development of 3D images or 3D products in one space, but rather, it's in all the different ones, which really I think is fantastic. You could see here in their solutions, AME technology, Dragonfly LDM system. So they have all these different ones, but the thing is again, the fact that they're penetrating healthcare, for example. They're looking at doing things like 3-dimensional valves. So as the thing that excites me about 3D printing is I think, long term, one of the big future prospects, right, for 3D printing is, in healthcare. I think we could see things like, the 3D printing of organs, right? Things like the 3D printing of a pancreas, 3D printing of a kidney, those kind of things. Because again, right now we can't 3D print those kind of things and just harvest them into a patient. But if that one day becomes a thing, and one of these 3D printing companies is the pioneer or leader in it, again, there's a lot of attempts right now and a lot of research and development in this space that can help us with a lot of different diseases, a lot of different uncurable type things for the future. So that's why I really like things like Nano Dimension and other 3D printing companies. So again, they are a company that ARK Invest is heavily invested in, and because of that, it should give us some, again, as Rocky said earlier, I like the word conviction. It should give you that more certainty that you're making a good decision when big hedge funds, when big companies, hedge funds mainly, are buying into them. So that's the nice thing about NNDM, is that it is backed by ARK Invest very heavily, currently at $2.68 billion. Potentially at a good buy zone, down 35% from its high, just about. So again, we'll have Rocky look at the technicals and we'll see what he says.
All right, so let's get into it. So with NNDM, it kind of formed a head and shoulders, but pre-formed a bullish pennant, which ultimately broke. But I love the chart because it's really easy to see what's happening on the 1 hour time frame right here. I'm going to quickly remove the arrow so you can just see, but very simple, right? Resistance is currently at $10 or $11, and if it breaks that, it will gap up. But as you can see, it's just falling to like support, and next support is about 970, and the breakout point is just near the corner. So I like the stock for a technical breakout. I think it does have the volume with 8 million volume right now. Average volume is 34 million. So if we do see a green day, definitely pick this one up for the breakout. I mean, if you're a long-term investor, that's a totally different thing, but short-term, really looking good.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rocky. The dynamic duo. Really appreciate that. So there's Rocky's take on it. Let's see how Zometica is doing today. So I always get weirded out when I see the grade, but it looks like it's at $2.10 a share currently. So again, looks like maybe a little bit of a pullback. Nothing significant, nothing I'm worried about. But yeah, let's see what other stocks you guys want to talk about. I really do enjoy these streams. Time flies when we're on them. We've already been up, I think we've been live for about an hour now. So yeah, let's keep it going. What's price target on Zometica? So there's no price target. It has been an hour since we covered Zometica. Let's go back and talk about ticker symbol ZOM since we're back on it. But again, we read the Motley Fool article that came out earlier today. So let's see what it says. Is the price finally right for much loved Zometica stocks? So I know Investor Place very bipolar in terms of how they set their blog posts or articles on certain DDs. So again, seems like they're updating on Zometica each and every day. But regardless, guys, leading up to the truforma launch, we do know that we are going to see volatility with this one. A lot of trade volume. But the big things that we read on the article is, could the truforma launch and revenues already be priced in to Zometica after the huge run-up that we saw this year? Potentially. Is it potentially time to buy Zometica? Maybe. But as of right now, again, for me, I'm looking for us to break through the different resistance points that we're seeing. And if we can break through that tough resistance mark that we saw near the $3 range, $2.90, $2.95, whatever it was, I think that's when we're going to see even more buying pressure, because people are saying, okay, now Zometica might not slow down. So if we could break $2.95 or $3, very, very exciting milestones will be reached at that moment, which again, maybe more and more people are going to decide to start buying in. So anyone that's new to the stream, please give it a like. It does help the stream get out to more people. So again, we can have more fruitful conversations and hopefully have more people in the chat to discuss different stock picks. Let's go back to Rocky.
All right, so we're going to be talking about ZOM now. And yeah, there is pretty much a breakout happening right now. Let's just say that we did previously chart this. We said this was on support, and dips just got bought. So, pretty much a red to green move can be seen today, and already is. So yeah, the chart is just still bullish, like as of ever.
Awesome. Thank you, Rocky.
Yeah.
So let's see where this goes, guys. Everyone that's an early investor, you've been killing it with Zometica. Congratulations. So let's see what everyone else has to say. Let's scroll up and let's read the chat. POAI, yes, Yvonne, I want to give you a shout out too. Nandwani, I think maybe is how you pronounce the last name, but I really appreciate all the support you've been showing the channel. I see you in all the comments, all the videos. You are awesome, and again, thank you so much for all the support you've been showing me and everyone else. So Predictive Oncology, POAI, guys, this is a company I decided to pick up on because it was actually brought to my attention from one of the Discord members. Was it Discord? Maybe Patreon, but regardless, one of the members mentioned this one to me, POAI. And, after I did my own due diligence, I did some research on the company. Yes, their balance sheet is not the best. Yes, their revenues are not the best. But the fact that the different spaces that they're trying to disrupt within healthcare, it's fascinating, right? So they're able to the big thing with their vision, right? If we go on their website, you could see the big thing that they're looking for with POAI is a way to help figure out whether a drug, before you start giving someone, specifically, again, oncology is the word that they have on their company title, company logo, and that is because, again, they're focused on cancer therapy. They're trying to figure out, not only are they figuring out, some of the things on their pipeline, including things that are going to be potential good pharmaceuticals, but it can help determine whether or not a certain patient's condition or a certain patient's abnormal growth or tumor, how it's going to react to a medication, right? So if you can predict these things, right, predictive oncology, that's why I love the name. If we can figure this out through different genetic testing, through different sample testing, right, biopsy testing, those kind of things in vitro, before we do them in vivo, in vitro being outside of the body, before we do them inside, that is going to be a game changer. So again, a lot of the time, for people who are, cancer patients or, historically speaking, oftentimes you're given a diagnosis and then a drug is selected based off your diagnosis. At the very first, they were a lot less targeted, less specific, but now with things that like predictive oncology and what their vision is and what they're trying to do, they can potentially, have a lot more targeted therapy, a lot more better medication choices for specific patients, making it, again, very patient-centric, very patient-focused. That's why I'm extremely, extremely bullish on the company long-term. And you could see Predictive Oncology has a lot of direct subsidiaries under them. They bought out some companies over time. Helomics, Tumor Genesis, Biotech, Soluble, and Skyline Medical. So all of these are subsidiaries, just like Jaguar Health, JAGX, how their direct subsidiary is Napo EU, Napo Pharmaceuticals. They're the ones that developed Mytesi. So just to give you guys an understanding of how that works, direct subsidiaries are still, so Predictive Oncology has somewhat of ownership on for all of these companies because they either bought them out or helped develop them themselves. So again, you can look through, go on their website and look at the different things. So personalizing therapy, look at their different things. And again, the big words that you see, AI, artificial intelligence, and pharma. So again, I'm not going to do my deep dive or due diligence right now on stream, but I want you guys to keep this one on your radar and maybe look into it. If you're someone that's in healthcare, look into how they're looking to, again, bridge some gaps that we have in terms of their in terms of the market, and look at the total addressable market for their products, right? Cancer patients, like that's, unfortunately, we're seeing over time, more and more cases, but we're getting better and better at treating them as well. And companies like this might be one of the big resources moving forward to help, to help with therapy for these patients. So that's why I'm super, bullish on predictive oncology. I really like the fact that they're using artificial intelligence and, again, targeted therapy to help medications work better for patients that are undergoing treatment for cancer. So again, that's POAI, currently at 171. We talked about it at $1.60. It's went up about 11 cents, nothing significant. Not a lot of trade volume, it seems, lately. But again, we can have Rocky confirm those things that I'm mentioning about the trade volume. But regardless, over the past week or so, up about 35% because we saw it pull back. So we talked about it at $1.60, ran up about 10%, pulled back 30 with the market pullback last week. Black Friday, it was $1.22, and you're up 40% since if you decided to buy in at the dip of the dip. So Rocky, go ahead and tell us about POAI and what you think about the chart.
All right, so the chart with the volume is, however, quite a bit of weak. You see average volume is 40 million, but I mean, still good to get in, get out of with. And it's looking like it might break out, but with the volume being low, I don't see it happening, right? It could pull back to 150. So, I mean, quite interesting chart. I just love to see more momentum. But then again, you're up like 30% if you bought in about last Friday. So yeah, solid chart. Not the best though, but it does represent opportunity.
Absolutely. Appreciate your perspective there. All right, so that's POAI for anyone that was wondering. And Yvonne says, already bought 600 shares of POI, waiting for the next buying opportunity. You still do you think it's the next Zometica? So for me, the reason I made it that title, yeah, it's a little clickbaity, I'm not going to lie, right? But for the algorithm, it does help the video get out to more people. But regardless, with Predictive Oncology, I truly think in terms of the potential that it has, at $63 million market cap, don't look at the price of the stock. $63 million market cap, it is what is that? If Zometica is $2 billion, right? This is a fraction of Zomedica's value, right? Can't compare, apples to oranges, right? They are both in the pharmaceutical space, right? They're under that pharma umbrella, but Predictive Oncology has a lot of room for growth, right? Before it even reaches $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion market cap. And now, depending on the total addressable market, if their products do well that are on their pipeline, right? If each of these companies have some significant news that comes out, etc., that could help propel this company forward. Now, again, their revenues right now, not the best at all. But their outlook, their long-term future, I think it's pretty significant. I don't know if tip ranks, maybe I mentioned on my video, I don't know what their price targets are for POAI, if they had any. But again, it looks like for the next 12 months, it's a 2-star analyst, so I'll take this for a grain of salt for sure, but a $3 price target for it, again, I think that's insignificant right now because not a lot of people, and this was from a month ago. So we need to see more Wall Street analysts eye this one, look into the company once we have good news come out, good sentiments regarding the company. So that's Predictive Oncology for everybody. All right, let's see how Zometica is doing. Zometica stock. Okay, back 212. Looks like we have some resistance there. 214, 212. All right, let's see what everyone else has to say.
Could I actually bring a SPAC into mind? I know that SPACs are not like hot right now, but I mean, this could have long-term potential, and it's basically a long-term investment for me.
Which one is that? ERESU?
Ticker symbol ERES, East Resources Acquisition Company.
Okay.
So I like to explain this quite a bit. I mean, if you do look at the chart, Yourpop, it's at like 990, and it's like down about 2% from its week highs. But this, for me, I'm looking to start a position somewhat soon, and this could be an early runner, right? So East Resources Acquisition Company is all about being in the energy sector, which will benefit from the Biden administration. Biden will love clean energy. And the owner of this SPAC is Terry Pagula, and it's the owner of the Buffalo Bills. And if you don't know what the Buffalo Bills are, they're just a football team, I'm pretty sure. And it's just, looking to merge with someone in the energy sector. Obviously, Chart is not like doing anything right now, but it does have long-term potential for just pre-SPAC merger. And there's some, right? There's just some capital LLCs that are just buying the stock and loading up right now. Really interesting. So that's just something, just a side note, right? And yeah.
Thanks, Rocky. ERESU. Let's go ahead and pull that up. I just want to see ERESU.
ERES.
ERES. So right now at $10.45 it looks like. So again, for SPACs, so currently they don't have any merger date or merger, they just want to infiltrate the energy space. Is that correct? Rocky?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Gotcha. So again, for SPACs that you're just like CPUHU, one of the ones that I talked about on my channel, based off just their management, or VGAC, right? A lot of people are buying to Richard Branson's SPAC. Right now, CPUHU, again, another one. I don't want to focus heavily on SPACs for the stream, but regardless, you guys can see we bought into this one around $10.30, 40 cents, because again, if they're targeting companies, again, artificial intelligence and medicine, that interested me. Again, if you're interested in energy with the management, you could buy into a SPAC early on before they even have a select company they want to merge with, which could potentially give you some nice returns in the short term. So again, something to look into. And someday says he lives in Buffalo. We have a Buffalo Bills fan. Look at Ocugen, came back down pretty heavily, back to $10. So yeah, maybe some decent fluctuation there on that one. Let's do a few more here before we end the stream today. What else do we got?
Looks like AMC is just breaking out of consolidation, which is something.
AMC? Do we want to talk about AMC and GME? Wow, it's $11.
I'm just gonna say it's just running based off its technical breakout that's having right now.
Oh, well, here's Rocky.
I do think there's just going to be some bag holders at the $11 area. So that's going to be a tough resistance for people in AMC. But, with GME running 8%, this can just definitely go up higher, maybe the 1172 range. But we just have to see. I think this is going to be a lower volume Friday as the market is red. So definitely in another hour, we can see a shift in what industries are popping off right now. Right now, it's mainly just the short interest stocks that are running. So yeah, definitely interesting for sure. That's just one thing to keep in mind.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rocky. So yeah, AMC, GME, guys, a lot of the market volume started entering into these plays after the whole surge of meme stocks. Look at GME. Wow. It came back pretty strong. So at 284, look at this. End of April was $44, up 500% since, or end of February, excuse me. So yeah, guys, again, this can of course affect the rest of the market when a lot of the volume and trading is heading towards one thing, especially within the retail investor field. So yeah, looks like GME is at 284. So green amongst the red market. All right, let's see what else everyone wants to talk about. Let's go back to Zometica. Quick refresh, 211, holding strong, consolidating. Not upset about it. Like to see.
Yeah, once again, guys, like the stream for the YouTube algorithm.
Hey, Rocky said it. Like the stream for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you, Rocky. We appreciate it. All right.
Yep.
Let's see what else you guys want to talk about. Dave says Zometica is at 211. Tonix Pharma, TNXP. One person said TNXP. I haven't done my due diligence on TNXP, so I feel like maybe it's something that I should have done early on.
I can give a quick rundown. We mentioned this in the stream like 20 minutes ago, right?
Oh yeah,
it's one of those vaccine companies, so that's a basically quick rundown. And yeah,
okay. So TNXP,
they're testing their vaccine for this C19 virus.
Okay, so you guys can see Rocky's he's charting it right now, and so TNXP, Tonix Pharmaceuticals. So again, I should probably know something about this one because it's within my field and I do like pharmaceutical companies. So TNXP currently at $385 million market cap. If we look at the 5-day, up about 16% from its low, sold off to 97 cents and it's bounced back since. But from its previous highs, wow, so it was at $2, still down 40%. So maybe it has some room to recover. But again, if you see, it had a pretty strong bull run from November to February. So 263% upside if you bought in early on. So Tonix Pharmaceuticals, as Rocky mentioned, they are a company that is looking to expand on vaccine availability, and they have some products in their pipeline. So quickly, I'm going to glance on their website to see what they have in their pipeline. So let's see here. So they have a CNS and immunology and biodefense portfolio. Cool. A lot of companies do. But I don't see anything. Oh, here it is. TNX 1800, the CV vaccine. So live modified horsepox virus vaccine is being developed by Tonix Pharmaceuticals and Strategy Collab. Live modified horsepox virus. Live vaccines are, personally, I think a thing of the past, but it's interesting that they're trying to develop a product that's, again, a live vaccine. We know people who have immunocompromised conditions. So if you're someone who has, any type of, immunodeficiency, immunocompromising conditions, a live vaccine is something that you wouldn't get because it could activate inside the body. That's why we went away from them for the annual flu vaccine. The majority of our vaccines now are non-live, so non-live attenuated vaccines, so deactivated or inactivated vaccines. So Tonix Pharmaceuticals, the fact that they're looking at, bringing back potentially this live vaccine, I don't know. Personally, for me, it doesn't really excite me because we know that they can cause, activation in the body, which in turn can give someone, the virus. So interesting though, but it's horsepox. So I'll have to look into this one. Let's see what the technicals say though. Rocky, go for it.
For sure. TNXP looks like it's not a momentum-based stock at all. It's mostly likely like a short-term kind of investment, you'd say. But it looks like it's near due to its breakout at about 124. So definitely on the watch list. It just doesn't look weak, right? Volume is there, looks bullish. It doesn't look weak at all. Not as much momentum as other stocks, you'd say, but it is a slow mover. And that's all.
All right, You heard it here first. So there's Rocky's take on TNXP. All right. Touching base on our favorite ZOM, $2.10. All right. Jaguar Health. I think that is a very good stock choice. Truong Thai. Thank you so much. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name. I do like the name though. Truong. So JAGX. Jaguar Health. Guys, this one has just been rough being an investor in Jaguar Health lately, because it seems like it's going to break out and then it just comes right back down. Breaks out, comes back down. So it's been very volatile, ups and downs here and there. So for the short term, it's one that I kind of don't focus on in the short term. It's one that I'm just very long on, looking to hold indefinitely, to be honest. So it could be even 5-10 years before I look back at it. Funny little side note about Jaguar Health. A friend of mine actually, when he first started investing into the stock market, Jaguar Health was one of the stocks that he held onto. So as soon as, you know how when you get referred to Robinhood or whatever, you get a free stock, and usually they're pharmaceutical companies, the penny stock or penny cap companies or small market caps. Regardless, Jaguar Health was one of his. He ended up selling it because he was like, I don't think this company much. And then, years later, 4 or 5 years later, whatever it might have been, finally Jaguar Health decided to, have some FDA approvals. They have Mytesi that has been, out and about, and finally it's being, patients are actually on the medication that are on ART or antiretroviral therapy. But regardless, as you can see here, we had this huge run up of 1,800%. We saw this. It's kind of been the overall theme for a lot of the penny stocks we've been talking about, but it's pulled back since about 46% from its high of $4, right? So down 46%, down 3% on the day. We saw it pull back down to about $1.60 before it bounced back 34%. So I really thought, we're going to continue to see this one have positive momentum. But again, no short-term catalyst necessarily. More long-term catalysts indeed, though. So I'm someone who's very long-term on JAGX. It's part of our 1K to 10K challenge. So if I pull up here, you guys can see Jaguar Health is one I'm invested in. And I love transparency. So again, the cost basis that I got in to Jaguar Health, average cost is $213. Today it's at $213. So I literally have made a total return of 0.24% since we bought in. And again, this was a few weeks back now, because we thought it was a great buying opportunity. So we could see what Rocky has to say about that. But yeah, that's a little bit on Jaguar Health Pharmaceuticals. So JAGX.
All right, I'll get into the technical setup. First and foremost, there is a quite confusing technical setup after it did run up like 1,000%. It doesn't represent the best and cleanest technical setup because of the lack of movement and judgment based on stock. I don't think the PR press release team is the best in any way, but I'll just try to do my best to show you some spots. So I guess we can furthermore look at it as if it was in a box. So let's just take that factor. So currently the support is at 198 and the breakout point is 274. There's not much to say rather than the press release team not releasing anything, but there's that. And look at Zometica, now negative. But yeah, that's my 2 cents on JAGX. Not much to cover, really.
There you go. All right, thank you, Rocky. So yeah, Jaguar Health, again, guys, when I'm just holding long term, I covered it heavily early on in the channel, and after I did, it ran up from $1.78 to $4. Recommended that we continue to set our trailing stop losses, so anyone that did, congrats on making a killing on it. You potentially had almost over a double up, actually, over 100% return. But regardless, yeah, holding long term for Jaguar Health, JAGX. So yeah, as Rocky kind of pointed out, Zometica looks like it's pulling back a little bit. Overall market, again, today has been kind of meh. I think is the best way to put it. Not really bullish. And yeah, just kind of been okay, I guess. All right, let's see what people have to say on the chat here. Maybe we can cover one more stock. What do you think, Rocky? Do we have time for one more at least? Rocky, you got time for one more? Maybe.
Yes, I do have time for one more.
Okay, good. All right, let's scroll up and let's see. Let's see here. TNXP. Scroll up and try to find a company maybe that I like and someone else likes in the chat. Daniel's on this holding up. Yeah, Zometica is definitely consolidating. It's around at $2, $2.10, holding strong.
Yeah, I like to spread some a word of wisdom, right? If you're looking to get in the stock and don't know where to go, and you see the market, the S&P 500, kind of collapse a bit, you could kind of wait until the end of the day to increase your buy zones, right? You can wait till the end of the day to see if it's whether or not it's a great opportunity without having the stress to look at the screen constantly, right? End of the day, it could just dip, it could just run up, but look at the stocks that do dip, right? That present a great buying opportunity. And once you see that it's end of the day, feel free to get in and just swing it until like Monday.
There you go. You guys heard it from Rocky. That's really good advice. The S&P 500, it's always going back to the index funds and see how they're doing. It's a good gauge on the overall pattern for the market on that day. So yeah, that's a little bit there. But I saw someone mention, it was a company that I liked, but let me go back up and see, because now I forget which one that was. Let's see. How about CTRM? That's one that I have not been looking at lately. 97 cents. Oh, it came back up. I think it came down to, 60 cents was it? Let's see if we look at the 1 month. Okay, 79 cents is what it says. I thought it pulled down more than that. Maybe, I think Google might be a little off. But Rocky can definitely go over this. But CTRM, guys, again, this was one that, some considered it a meme stock. Others said that it has some strong potential. And even on the YouTube space, a lot of people that were covering CTRM, I mean, the fundamentals and some of the just the overall the space that they're in specifically, I think that it truly does have some potential. Now, does that mean it's going to do well in the short and long term? Who knows? It did run up to $1.79. People were chasing. $1.73 maybe, down 43% since all-time high. Now, we can have Rocky kind of touch on this one because I know he's covered CTRM on his channel. It's not one, I've covered a couple videos on it because I wanted to get people on. Talked about it around 30 cents a share. We saw it run up, along with a lot of the other stocks, about 400% before it decided to pull back down. So again, it was an easy money grab for a lot. And till right now, it's still up pretty much a 3x since you bought in, if you bought in at the same time that I covered it. But let's see what Rocky has to say about CTRM. And this will be the last stock for the morning, so we can get to our trading day and see how we go before the weekend starts.
So I do want to point out a factor that CTRM's headquarters are in Greece. So kind of an odd headquarter for something that's being popped up on YouTube a lot. I do think this is more of a hype stock on social media. I mean, it's done a lot of dilution to get to the point where it is today. I do have previous history of where CTRM has been, and it's been stuck at the 12-cent range for quite some time as a shipper. And generally with shippers, they have a lot of volume, but especially after this has been hyped up in social media, there is potential because of that, right? It presents a lot of volume buying in, and typically, my experience with this stock, typically anything you see red at the end of the day with the stock, it'll just go up after hours. I mean, pretty favorable to the person who's looking to swing trade, but for long-term opportunity, they are doubling some vessels, so definitely something to keep watch of. Their inventory is going up, and I'm pretty sure there's like some rumor with like the owner being rich and something like that. I'm not sure quite yet about it, but I've seen this in the comments. But this could definitely go to $1 soon. I mean, yeah, just look to end at the end of the day. I might even add at the end of the day, right? At 80 cents, I literally added it. It went back down to 60 cents in the matter of in the morning, just at 5 a.m. and it just literally bounced back. So there is really strong potential. I mean, strong momentum in the stock. So yeah, I like CTRM. It's not really bad. I like it. It's really strong in momentum.
Perfect. Thanks, Rocky, for CTRM. Let's end the stream off with the last look at Zometica stock. It's still pulling back. It's at 207 last we looked. So again, really strong support where it's at right now. Trade volume again today overall has not been the greatest. For everybody that did tune into the live stream, I thank you so much. It has been great. Thank you for giving it a like. If you haven't already, the pinned message on the chat is to Rocky's channel. He's the one who did all the technicals on the stream because I don't have that ability since I never really have trained myself on how to do that. But if you want to watch more on Rocky's stocks, he does a great due diligence. He does great research on each of his stock picks. So please feel free to hop over to his channel. and support him because he does support the channel. He supports the Discord a lot. He's actually the co-owner of the Discord. So again, if you have questions, he does chart requests, etc. Just a great guy overall. For everybody that joined us again, thank you all so much. I hope you have a great trading day. Hopefully it's successful. I will be doing a Zometica update today later, maybe in a few hours. As soon as I find out maybe more information after I try to harass them a little more by giving them a call. So again,
could I leave some shout outs?
Yep, go ahead.
All right, so shout out Jessica, shout out Anthony, shout out Kevin. Really appreciate everyone's support once again. I do appreciate it. Leave some comments on my YouTube, right? I go over a ton of stocks daily, right? I go over tons of them, and I really appreciate you if you like leave the comment, leave a suggestion. I'll do my best and try to bring more to the table once it comes to the stock market and YouTube videos. I really do put a ton of effort. So thank you all so much for your support and so much support on the stream. Thank you, each and every one of you.
All right, everybody. And until next time, keep investing.